Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Ultima Final Fantasy, the ultimate Final Fantasy podcast. I am your host, Caleb Schweiss.
I am Joe.
And today, ladies and gentlemen, we are finally reviewing Secret of Evermore.
A singular secret of Evermore.
Yeah, there's not more than one secret there. They're not that complex.
Nope. I was definitely wrong. I don't know where I got the extra S from last time. But I am fully embarrassed by it.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Yeah, it's the old heroes is of mana.
Well, I mean, if we were like a weekly show or something like that, like the next week, but I mean, that has been hanging on for like 2 months there of me going, now it's definitely Secrets of Mana.
Yeah.
And I have to live with that.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been even better if it was like Secret of Evermores. And it's like, oh man, which one has the S on it?
That would have been a clusterfuck.
Yeah, that would have really fucked you up.
But yeah, we beat a game. Thank God. We could have probably put it on an episode. We have one like backlogged from Krinital.
Yeah.
That we haven't put out yet. And I heard there's a new FF7 mobile game that has come out or will come out. And if anybody wants to review that and just send us a sound file with you reviewing the game, please do. fffanatics123@gmail.com is our email address. And that's also where you send like reviews and questions for upcoming games that we'll be reviewing. And we actually have to figure out what game we're reviewing next on this show. So please stay tuned after the review of Secret of Evermore.
Yeah.
Where me and Schweiss will make a decision. And also I have something to plug.
Yeah, we've got our biannual, or I guess our every 2 years announcement that we're going to not be playing 14. So stay tuned for that.
It's more complicated than that.
Yeah. It's every time we're like so pumped, we're like, we're going to do it. It's going to happen this time. And there's something. But
I will once again say the only person who feels that way is you.
Yeah. And do I really feel that way, though? That's the question. And I don't know. Because it's like, how excited am I to, tell you to get to a certain point in the game by a certain date so that we can play together for an hour and a half. And
while our minds slowly bend as we're watching people nod their heads incessantly in cutscenes.
Yeah, and just talk forever and ever and ever. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have that conversation some more later.
It's so weird because 11 had a decent amount of cutscenes, but I never felt that way about that game.
Nope.
Like, I feel like 11 is, story-wise, like the expansions especially, they're really solid.
The expansions, yes.
And you, kind of fall in love with the girls in each one of them. Like, I really start to like them a lot. Like, yeah. I'm like, this is really cool. Even Iroha is like calling me master all the time, Like, I'm down for that. I don't know.
Of course you are.
I saw 50 Shades of Grey after that. Everything just kind of clicked after getting all that. I'm kidding, I've never seen that.
I saw it.
Oh, did you? Is it timid compared to what everyone thought it was going to be?
Yeah.
Yeah. Compared to what you were wanting?
I mean, I've seen some movies that are pretty heavy on the sex.
Yeah.
But that was pretty weak. It was pretty weak. Like, I don't even think it was a hard R. I think it was just like an R. Like
lowercase R.
Yeah, like a lowercase R. Like, why is The Last Samurai R rated? I'm still like in my head searching for the answer to that. Yeah. Like, I get they behead some guys in a wide shot. Like, it's never close up. Also, why is The Matrix rated R? That's another one where I'm like, why is this movie rated R?
Yeah, or like Halo, why is it rated M?
Why is Halo rated M? Yeah, it's all in that category of like barely R.
Yeah.
And I would say on the sexual end of things. Or there's also one where it's like PG, where Titanic is barely PG-13, because that probably should be an R-rated movie.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
But it's on the edge, like, you do see tits for a while. Like, it's not, it is not, it's not like a nature documentary tits. They're well lit, and it's an enjoyable visual experience for a straight man to watch the scene.
Yeah.
And therefore you would assume, well, We don't want teenagers jerking off at the theater, so we're going to make that an R-rated movie, right? Nope. Titanic, despite having tons of death in it
Lots
and
of death,
tits, there and people freezing to death in the water, and it's actually like a terrifying second half of that movie. PG-13.
Yeah.
Go figure. And then, I'd say 50 Shades of Grey, the content, like what they're talking about, like what they're doing, yeah, that's all R-rated stuff. But as far as like what you actually see in that movie,
seems like a letdown considering like the whole like thing behind it, like the whole image of it is that it's supposed to be like, oh man, it's like super kink.
And I've never seen the sequels. I just saw the first. It was all right. I didn't like hate it like a bunch of other people did, but
yeah,
I just watched it. I was like, eh. I mean, I think the main actress in it is kind of cute, so that was nice. But other than that, I was just kind of walked away. It was a forgettable movie for me.
Yeah.
Like I could barely tell you what happened in that movie now. But yeah, just especially when I've seen, you know, if you've seen In the Realm of the Senses, which is like disgustingly graphic, like not shot in a sexy way either. It's just people having sex, and it is just, and I think the actors actually are having sex. I think that's one of the famous things about that movie. Not sexy. Yeah. Not a sexy movie. Also, a child is abused in that movie, and it's also graphic. And I'm looking at it, I'm watching this movie, and I'm like, what the fuck am I watching right now? Why the fuck is this legal? That was the other thing where it is banned in a lot of countries, but not banned in the United States for some reason. Despite that one scene being in there, I understand the rest of it not being banned, but there's one scene in there that no one ever talks about that I went away and I was like, I fucking hate that movie. I don't understand why people look at it as like a great film. So that's why I watched it. It was on one of my lists of like greatest films ever seen, films you must see before you die. And I watched it. I'm like, yeah, it's graphic. No, I do not like this movie.
Yeah.
And I see no artistic merit in it either. It's not like well shot or anything. It's like pretty flat. Like, no. But Lust Caution, the Ang Lee movie.
Oh,
that's a sexy movie. Y tu mamá también. That's a sexy movie. Those are real, like, graphic. Oh, and of course, blue is the warmest color. I would also add the 12-minute cutscene in the middle of that movie is quite extensive. So, nice. And of course, all three of those movies, I believe, are NC-17. I think Lust Caution has there's an R-rated cut of Lust Caution. And I love seeing the box art for it where it's like, the R-rated version never seen in theaters. Am I bleeding somewhere? I have blood on my hand.
You got blood on your hands, Joe.
Yeah, I guess. What the fuck? Anyway, so we should talk about Secret of Evermore.
Yeah, probably. maybe you're bleeding because your body is like, stop talking about movies.
Sorry.
This is a video game podcast.
That's right.
So, speaking of Secret of Evermore, yeah, we beat it a few weeks back. I think you beat it first by like a week, I think. I had to push it.
Yeah, I did, but I had to push it too. We both pushed it.
Yeah.
I thought we were going to be able to beat it faster than we ended up doing.
Yeah,
and there was a certain point where I realized the truth about halfway through the game, and I'm like, we're not doing this week, dude. And so I pushed it off, and then you also needed another week to beat it, and then we beat it.
Yeah.
And we couldn't record last time.
Yeah, I worked so late. I got off at like 8:20, which was the old 9:20 because it was when we had daylight savings, and I was like, dude, I already didn't sleep at all yesterday to play Halo Reach all fucking day. I cannot.
That was a great time.
That was good, yeah. I kind of wish we would have done more Reach this week, but we didn't even make time to because we had a few days, but I didn't really have any time, so. But yeah, I did that, and I was like, I can't do it again. I can't do this today. So I just slept all day. It was great. So we pushed it to today, November 13th, 2020.
And now we're here, and I can't remember what happened. I'm just kidding. Actually, this game was more on the memorable side.
Yeah.
For me.
I wonder if it's because it was never translated. It's just straight up English, so we don't have any weirdness that we just kind of like glaze our eyes over.
I don't know, because I can never tell that stuff.
Yeah.
It might just be the talent of the writing. I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
And I don't know, like, were those old Mana games, translated by Ted Woolsey? I have no idea. I haven't checked his I don't have his credits memorized, but he did like FF4 and FF6 and remember those stories just fine. So I'm wondering maybe Ted Woolsey's just a better writer, or maybe the Mana games weren't written that well, and this one just has an easier story to remember because it's better written.
Yeah, I mean it's also
because that's what I'm sorry. We'll be comparing it to the Mana games a lot.
Yeah, it's very comparable. The one guy that I would say is probably the best writer is that I think his name's Alexander O. Smith. It's the guy who did 12. But he also did Vagrant Story, and I'm like, Vagrant Story wasn't badly written. I just have no idea what's happening.
Are you talking translated? Translator.
I guess he...
Yeah,
he
translated and then he writes. So the art of translation is to translate it and then get the spirit of the original language.
Properly.
And then adapt it. Yeah. So there is like a whole art there, and you never know if like what you're reading as far as like why it's so difficult to read if that's just the translator.
Yeah, and maybe they're doing like an actual like direct translation. Like they don't want the...
more direct, or maybe their writing style just isn't entertainment based.
Yeah,
like
true.
They're not, writers. I've definitely seen a lot of debate before when I was looking for like a good translation of Tale of Genji because I love Japanese shit too much, and there was like, well, if you want something really well written that's like a good story, you got to do this translation. If you want it to be more accurate to the original, then it's this translation, and this one's kind of in between. Like someone had read all of them and had reviewed which translations were which, and it's like, well, the initial guy who translated it made a better book, but he like cut 2 chapters out of it. And like he cut a lot of stuff out of it that he just didn't feel like was good.
Yeah.
Like he took a lot of liberties.
Yeah, like
with
the
it.
King James version of the Tale of Genji.
Something like that. Yeah. So it's a complicated
We're taking out the
situation.
magic and the dragons.
And in a world where, not everything was globalized, there's no internet.
Yeah.
Like, that's all you're getting. You don't know that the translator, like, messed with shit.
That's true, yeah.
Just because they had an artistic, like, itch to scratch,
Yeah.
But then again, like, wouldn't you rather... I got his translation because I was like, I'd rather read the better book.
Yeah, I probably would, too. And then, like, I don't know, that's just one of the things that 12, I know we've talked about this a million times. The cool thing about that world is that like they have regional accents and like there's really cool shit and like
there's
the languages make sense.
In terms of the translation and its voiceover, there's a lot of detail in there, and it really comes through with 12 a lot.
Yeah,
that you don't get from 13, oddly, and you don't get from 10.
Yeah, 10's just like we
It's
feel like giving this guy a weird accent, and then Lulu sounds normal, but they live in the same village.
I guess 13 was taken care of because it's like, oh, the 2 from Pulse have an Australian accent because apparently like that's the accent.
Yeah, it's the land down under. I mean,
you lose it.
Yeah, it's literally the land down under. So.
Oh shit!
Yeah. Never thought of it that way. Yeah.
Never. That's great. Shit.
Yeah.
I should give you a raise here, Schweitz.
Yeah. Oh, wait, we get paid?
Yeah, we get paid?
Hey, Vanille, bring the Vegemite.
Oh, God.
You got the Vegemite, Vanille?
Vegemite.
Yeah, foul stuff.
All right.
Speaking of foul, though, Secret of Evermore is an action role-playing game for the Super Nintendo. It was initially released in North America on October 1st, 1995, and arrived in Europe and Australia in February of 96. There was a planned Japanese release that was intended to follow the North American one by a few months, but it was ultimately scrapped. So Japan had their little secret coveted Type 0 for all those years, and then they sent it to the West, and we all laughed at them. And then Secret of Evermore.
Or you cried with them.
Or you cried with them because you're weird.
There's people who listen to this podcast just turned it off.
Yeah, exactly. Most offensive.
Well, and then the next review we get, I was trying to listen to a Secret of Evermore review, and they talked about sex scenes in movies for 20 minutes.
Yeah. And then they
didn't even get to the review.
And then they ripped on my favorite game, Type 0. I cried.
Yeah, exactly. I cried at Type 0.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be a good clickbait title for our YouTube channel, by the way. It's like you with a big tear down your eye, a really sad face, and then like the sad face of like a FF Type 0 character, like, nah, like loud
dying.
crying.
Yeah.
And then he goes, I cried at Type 0. Underrated classic, question mark. Dude,
Yeah.
we'll get tons of hits, bro.
Yeah. Then it's like a 2-second video. No.
No, then you go, I cried, laughing.
Yeah.
Then you stare at the camera. Yeah, 2-second video. There you go.
Yeah. But we actually got the good one, in my opinion, out of those two, at least. Secret of Evermore. So, it is one of only 2 Square games developed in North America, the other being Final Fantasy II. Secret of Evermore began development in early 94 in the Redmond, Washington office of Squaresoft. The original working title was Vex and the Mesmers.
Oh, I can't imagine why they changed their title.
Yeah, other than to confuse us with Secret of Mana, of course. And the original concept was crafted by producer Alan Weiss of a group of magic users who could tell dream stories and transport the listeners into the experience virtually. And apparently, during one of said storytelling sessions, Vex, the main character, is trapped and starts to corrupt the dream. Or I guess he's not the main character, he's the antagonist. And the player would eventually find and defeat him. So the studio would ultimately have a naming competition, which resulted in the much better named Secret of Evermore. Many elements of Secret of Evermore were copied directly from Secret of Mana due to the effectiveness of that game as an action game, and it was fairly popular at the time. The developers ran into a lot of issues early on with the game's size and ended up making it a single-player experience rather than multiplayer to save on space.
That makes sense.
Excuse me.
Makes sense why the dog's there.
Yeah, it almost feels like you should have a second player for the dog.
Yeah.
But then you don't. But you can switch to him, so I don't
Thank
know.
God, because my dog was my beat stick. That guy could play the game way better than I can.
Yeah, the dog knew how to throw down. So there was a really interesting aspect of the game's development. Apparently with the art, what happened is the artist would, rather than render the work digitally and then hand it over to programmers, they actually used a program called Sage, which stands for Square's Amazing Graphics Editor Program, and they would just like directly put their artwork into the game. So they were able to like really mess with the artwork on like a personal level as opposed to just sending it over to programmers.
So they're like, oh, we'll get this art and then we'll just turn it into cubes.
Yeah. So I thought that was kind of cool because normally, like they were saying, they just do what they can and the programmers just put it in as they are able to. So they did end up cutting one of the worlds out in this game, and it was called Romancia, where everything was supposed to be all flowers and sweet stuff.
Oh, like that romance, not like Roman romance.
Yeah.
Oh.
And
so we already kind of got that. I don't know. I guess it was. I don't know what it was. Greekish. I don't.
Yeah. There was that whole area. Yeah, that everyone's in like togas and shit. And apparently, it was supposed to be like a pink and purple area. So a common misconception is that Secret of Evermore is a follow-up to Secret of Mana. And they also had a bunch of other titles that were being localized around this exact time, such as Final Fantasy VI and Chrono Trigger. So it was kind of like a big release time, and I feel like this one is certainly the least known of those three. And I wonder if that's why Secret of Evermore is so like unknown as a game, is because it was being released around the same time as two of the biggest games that Square's ever made, like FF6 and Chrono Trigger.
Yeah, interesting choice. I don't remember what year Secret of Mana came out, so I don't know like the gap, you know.
Yeah.
But clearly they wouldn't have called it Secret of Evermore without Secret of Mana being kind of a hit, and them suggesting like this is another Square game. This plays really similar to Secret of Mana. You know, those people will be attracted to this game, so they're kind of like suggesting that it's a sequel.
Yeah.
But it's not technically a sequel. So what you kind of like glanced over earlier was that this is one of two Square games developed in North America. So the thing that most people cite this game as is the only one developed in North America, but I think it's actually like that Square Enix of North America developing a game. This is the only one. But yeah, Final Fantasy II was like made here.
Wasn't it made in like California?
Yeah, it was made in California because I think the main programmer's visa, he had some issues with it in Japan, and he had to like go
back.
So funky. Like they moved the whole development team or something like that. You'll have to listen to our ancient FF2 episode to learn more. But that's what I remember from that thing. So yeah, this is the only one developed solely from a North American team of Square Enix, and also never went to Japan. Also, you can't get this on a modern system right now.
Yeah, it has not been ported at all. So we had to buy it on I guess we could have emulated it, but
I have a terrible copy of this game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I do. I also bought a different one from eBay, but it's coming from China and still hasn't arrived.
Wow.
So I was waiting for the second copy because this one with the fucking cartridge in my Retron, I have to like crush it down and like wiggle it, and then when the image comes up on the screen, I'm like, I freeze. And I'm like, don't touch the Retron, whatever the fuck you do, so you can play this game for a little while.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
The only problem I had was the Classique 2 is super fucking sensitive. And so every once in a while, it'll just like fuck up. And it won't fuck up while I'm playing, but I'll turn it on and it'll be like fucked up. Like it'll be, the image is like half the image it should be, or like it'll freeze. Or something will go wrong, and I'll have to like fuck with it to like get it back to normal. But once it's there, it's fine the whole time. But like, I guess
so we both have fucking cartridge problems with this shit.
Yeah. I think it's the Classique though, because it's kind of a dumpster of a fucking port. It has like no features whatsoever. It just plays Super NES and NES, and that's it. Yeah. It's like a straight up thing. Whereas the Retrons have like quality of life. Things like save states and all these fancy things.
You could speed it up.
Yeah. None of that's on this one, but anyway.
It's just an emulator, basically. Only you use the original cartridge.
Yeah. So the game was designed by Alan Weiss and George Sinfield. It was programmed by Brian Fedreau, and the artists were Daniel Dosu and Bo Folsom.
These aren't even Japanese names, but it sounds like you're struggling with them just as much as when it's like Takarada, Kazuki.
Yeah. The game was written by George Smithfield and Paul Mazurek. And the soundtrack was created by Jeremy Soule, who also worked on the Elder Scrolls games, Guild Wars, 5 Harry Potter games.
Oh, yeah.
And earlier, you almost stumbled upon what the other game was that we are very familiar with that he worked on. I think you said, sound like John Williams, but not really.
No.
Yep.
No.
He fucking did the Bounty Hunter soundtrack, dude.
God damn it.
I saw that and I was like, no way. It's back.
I did not see that. Dude, when I glanced down at his shit, I was just like, oh, Harry Potter. I just play the Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone all the time on my PC. In fact, I got a pirated copy of it not that long ago. And I'm like, to replay it someday, because I have fond memories of that silly game.
Yeah.
And then when the game booted up, I was like, oh, I remember this music, and it's funny because that's the guy who did the score for it.
Yeah.
And apparently also helped rape us through through Bounty Hunter.
Raping our way through Bounty
Hunter. Of course, that's not the first time. But
that's right.
We'll look up his Wikipedia page for more.
Yeah, so that was interesting to find out. Yeah. So the plot of this game pretty much revolves around a boy and his dog who we must name.
Yeah, clearly the boy's name Joe, which I thought was the default, but maybe I guess I had to name him or something.
Yeah.
And then I called the dog a dog name. I called it Bitch.
Yeah. There were some pretty good lines from yours. Like when the guy was, when he was like rescuing the dog from the well and he's like, bitch, get in the basket or whatever.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
pretty good.
It was pretty good.
But at the end of the game, it was like, and thanks to you, basically, is what's in the credit. It was like, oh, what the fuck was it? I wish I want the exact words because it's too good. But it was like, and thanks to Joe and Bitch. It was like, by the way, thanks to Joe and Bitch, or something great. There was like 9 ways you could read the sentence that would make it hilarious. I'll have to like go grab my phone in a second to find it. But yeah, I called it Bitch, even though it wasn't a female dog. It was like, it's a dog, and I feel like I'm in 8th grade right now. I'm gonna call my character Bitch.
Yeah, I ended up calling mine Cubby, which of course is Caleb Craig's nickname that his mom gave him. That we're not supposed to say, but we do anyway.
Oh, it's sacred.
It is a kind of a sacred thing.
It's a sacred bond.
So thus we must destroy it.
The sacred Cubby bond.
Yeah. So the player basically, the game takes place in the fictional world of Evermore, and we explore 4 main areas within the world. They correspond to sort of different historical eras. Prehistoria, obviously, is like cavemen, dinosaurs, super old shit. Antiqua is Colosseum and pyramid themed, so kind of like the ancient world.
That's how I read that.
Yeah. Gothica is more of like a medieval castle, dragons, shit like that, the high fantasy kind of stuff. And Omnitopia is a futuristic space station. And a really weird name.
Yeah, and you get a laser dog.
Yeah, the laser dog is fucking awesome, dude.
All right, no, okay, this is the line. So it says special thanks to all these people, and then the last like thing that the credits pull up goes, and most importantly, thanks to Joe and his faithful companion, Bitch. Now, but you could also read it and like someone going like, oh well, of course, like, and most importantly, thanks to Joe and his faithful companion, Bitch.
Yeah.
That's how I like to read that.
Read it as a Dave Mustaine lyric.
Thanks to Joe and his faithful companion, Bitch.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So throughout the game, the really fun part, and I think one of the parts that you probably really enjoyed, is they reference a lot of like cheesy B movie titles.
Oh yeah, because the main character is obsessed with like B movies, sci-fi movies.
Yeah,
from a small town being pulled into like this crazy world, and he's like, well, this is kind of like that one movie that I saw. It's kind of funny, yeah.
Yeah, I really laughed at the last area because he was joking about like because his dog turns into like a toaster. And he's like joking about like coming across like bagels and shit like that. And then the dog like barks at him and he's like, sorry, boy. I'm just kidding. But yeah, I love Toaster Dog. Toaster Dog is the best.
Toaster Dog toast enemies.
Yeah, I saw 4 9s like often from that fucker. He was laying down the law. So I thought that was a really fun little aspect of it.
Yeah, basically you go into one area and you find out the secret of Evermore. Yeah, you're pulled into this crazy world. You come into like the prehistoric place. There's like a girl there who is like worshipped by everyone, but she's just like also from your world, basically. She's from Earth. And you start finding out all these like little conspiracies are going on with like people pretending to be other people and shit, and you're learning that stuff, and you're making your way to all these different worlds, and you're solving the problems until finally you find the guy that's like responsible for it all, and like the other guy who like created the world in his head, because you're apparently in like some mad scientist's like perfect world of all the shit that he loves being put into like one place.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's like a sort of fantasy. I don't know. Yeah, it's like a storybook kind of thing, but it's from one guy's mind in like a science fiction world. And yeah, eventually you kind of destroy it, and like the bad guy's caught, and then you go back to Earth, and you're back to Podunk. Hilariously on the nose name. There's a lot of like things in the game that are like tongue in cheek naming of things, which I really thought was like a lot of fun, and really kind of simple really simple story that I enjoyed.
Yeah. So the weird thing about the game is like you end up finding out that like each of the areas is a certain. It's like it's like a weird version of like those people's utopia. So like what they want the most.
Yeah.
From each of the main characters that were also transported with you, because you basically explore some like old mansion because your dog chases a cat into a mansion, and that's where you find
bitch,
like,
what are you doing?
Yeah, come on, bitch. It's like 50 Cent Blood on the Sand all over again over here. Just, bitch, every 2 seconds. But you go in and you accidentally activate this teleporting device, and that's when it teleports you to these lands that are like weird imagination lands. It's almost like what they did in Tactics Advance, but less offensive.
That was totally Storybook Tactics Advance. Like you're pulled into the Storybook world.
I think that was A2.
Or
A1
A2.
was the Fever Dream, remember? Where it's the little kid and he like...
Oh, shit, you're right.
His alcoholic dad is like a real piece of shit. And he like has a big dream. He eats some like bad soup and then has like fucking...
It's got some mushrooms in it.
Yeah, some fever dreams. Like he's super high and fucked up. Yeah, that's Advance. So yeah, that's kind of what it is. And there's like different like leaders of each area, and then you find out that there are like weird alternate universe versions of those leaders that are like trying to take over. And the butler there was a butler in the mansion, and he's a android named Carltron, and he's basically the main baddie who's kind of like messing with everything and replacing all of these people with the robot versions, like the fake versions of themselves.
Yeah.
And then you eventually find the scientist, Dr. Ruffleberg, who created the thing and teleported all those people at the time, like years before you found it, to this land. And then you come along and kind of save everything by beating up his robot, who basically just went rogue. And it's funny because there's like you beat everything, and then, you do the credits, and then there's like some post-credit scenes. I don't know if you saw those, but after the credits, there's like it's a real fast scene where it shows Professor Ruffleberg like coming back to Carlton, and he's like, all right, now no going crazy.
Oh, yeah, I saw that one.
Yeah, and then like the robot's just like cleaning, and then he kind of like stops and then like turns evil again,
And then it has like a sequel tease without a sequel, yeah.
Yeah, so I thought that was really fun.
Until after years, of course.
Yeah.
We haven't actually talked about why we're playing this fucking game on this show. But go ahead.
Yeah, we really haven't. Yeah,
No.
it's such a dumb thing. He gives you a pretty legit weapon, though. That
yeah.
I barely, honestly, I didn't even use it that much.
I used it once, and it was like, oh my God. And then I never used it again. You're right.
I never figured out how to use it more than once.
You got to get the ammo for it.
Each time? Because I have a bunch of ammo.
You have, it uses one each time. So it's like you have a certain amount of ammo, and they all cost a lot. And there's only one place that I found in that game. I didn't look in a guide for this part, but there's one place you can buy that stuff in that game.
Oh, I found a bunch.
Oh, you found a bunch.
Yeah, I was looking at the guide for the last area. I was like, fuck it.
The last area is hard to fucking navigate.
Yeah, it's a lot. I
was following a guide, and then I like deviated from the guide for a second, and then I had to figure out like my shit.
You know the jungle area right before that, like the jungle where you fight that one dragon, and then you fight the other dragon right after.
Yeah,
I did that like without looking at anything. I just memorized. I was like left, down, left, right, up, down, and like I had it, and then I would like erase one from my list. Yeah, and then I died. And then I didn't remember what it was, and I had to do it again.
Oh.
Because I died, like, way far in, and I did not find a save.
All right, we'll talk about the difficulty.
Oh, fuck, I died in space, and I had to go all the way back there, and I was like...
There was one where I didn't turn off the light.
Oh, yeah, I did that, too.
That's when I deviated from the guide. I thought I had turned on the light switch. I was following a guide for the second, third, the last third of this game, pretty to the point, because I was like, we gotta beat this fucking game. Obviously we didn't, because we reviewed it 3 weeks later, but it's still, I was like following the guy, and then I was like, oh fuck, I'm in this room and I got fucking ass raped by this fucking squiggly Jumanji monster, and that are all over the game, but these ones are invincible. And I was like, oh god, no! And then that's when I had to like figure out the area.
The reason why I didn't beat it a day sooner was because I died there, and I was like fucking mad. And then I went back and I turned off the light, and when I got there, it was on again. I had to backtrack.
That might have been what happened to me. I thought I had turned it off, but I didn't.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, and then I walked up to one and I was kind of okay. And then I was like, oh, I guess I'm safe. And then the next one's like, boom.
I did the save states between them.
Oh.
But the last one will always kill you.
Really?
Yeah. So you can like make your way and you'll be at that doorway and you'll be like, well, maybe if I can get the dog to go first. Nothing, dude. I tried like a million things to not have to go all the way back, but I could not figure it out. Anyway. Sorry, go ahead. You were talking plot.
Sorry.
Bless you.
Yeah, I mean that's basically all there is to it.
Yeah, and it has like this tongue-in-cheek vibe, and it's all this like B-movie vibe. It has like these 3 time periods, and I don't know. I clearly from people who love those kind of like, I don't know what time period, the 60s movies basically, and like it was just a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun in the story. It was real tongue-in-cheek. There's like great lines like at the end, near the end of the game. Evermore will be nevermore forevermore. And I laughed harder than I probably should have. I was just playing the game by myself, minding my own business. That line came up and it was like, like stupidly loud. But the whole game kind of has that flavor to it. Main character's kind of like the spunky kid. All the characters have like all these like motives, and they're all very like visually different and interesting, which I can't say that we ever got from the Mana series. And, like, so to me, this is like, as far as story was concerned, the Mana series was always a disappointment. Even the good, even the 2 really good ones are just like,
it's mostly gameplay that's really good.
And then the gameplay's good. This one, if this was part of the Mana series, it would be the best one story-wise, and just really solid. I really like it.
It would be probably the best one story-wise, and at least number 2 gameplay-wise. Because I think the only one that might be better gameplay-wise is Trials, and that's not even a for sure thing. This is really good.
I have a different opinion, but...
Oh, you think this one's better?
No.
Oh. I was like, really?
No.
Yeah, one of the things I really loved... I laughed at this game multiple times. I think it's a really charming game. Like, I really do. And there's like one of the scenes that I laughed pretty hard at and I thought was just like super well done was there's a fucking cat that runs by like when you first I don't know if it's when you first, no, it's when you get into the lab with the professor. A cat goes by and then your dog like your toaster dog starts chasing him and then he like launches the laser beam at the cat. I laughed pretty hard at that. I was like, oh, that's fucking hilarious. He's just like
just fucking murdering cats.
Yeah, so I mean it's a really charming game. And then there's like funny fucking parts where like they throw you in prison and then the guards walk away and then your guy just like walks out of the prison. Like it's just no factor. Like it's not even a problem at all. I there's just funny shit like that in the game where there's like things that happen and then the guy just like nobody cares and your dude just like gets out and instead of coming up with some elaborate like escape plan, he just opens up the door or some shit. Like, I think that's when you got thrown into the prison in, like, the sewers or whatever, and then the guy leaves, and then your guy just kind of, like, waits for a second, and then he just walks out, and then you can play again. Like, there's a lot of that, like, just kind of, like, tongue-in-cheek and just fun. It's fun. It's a fun game.
It is a fun game. Really well written, especially for the SNES era. And yeah, just mostly just like a comedy, basically, as you're running around, which is nice. You don't get that often in these Square games. They're usually a drama.
Yeah, you really don't. Yeah.
So the reason that we're playing this game on the podcast is because it's actually, I don't know if you guys knew this. Turns out one of the people who made these worlds, the classical world, really liked Final Fantasy IV. And so the shopkeeper
/in owner,
shopkeeper of both the weapons and some items. He is Cecil from Final Fantasy IV, retired.
Yeah. Apparently, you can retire from the kingship. I didn't know that. I thought you just had to kind of die.
It's happened before.
Yeah, I guess.
You marry someone out of royalty, you can.
Yeah,
you're booted.
So he does that. He apparently just retires from his old job of ruling, and decides, you know what? I'm going to run a dual shop inn that is understaffed completely, and just run across the hall and get to the other thing, depending on where someone wants to purchase. And
I'm giving out bazookas.
He's giving out a bazooka, yeah, which is pretty crazy. Especially in the world he was in, you know, he's in kind of like the Gothic area, right?
Yeah.
And then he gives you a fucking bazooka out of nowhere. So
Cecil was really nice. He gave me a bazooka, guys.
Yeah.
that's how it was. So Cecil is in the game. Not much of a presence. He just like when you're going up there, he has a great shop. I mean, that was great shit that he had in there. It's near the end of the game, or near like when the game opens up and you have to go to a bunch of fucking areas and figure shit out.
Yeah.
Which I would have never been able to do without a guide.
Really? The game tells you to go back.
Yeah, but it's the actual directions of going back, because I've been on the one-track mind.
Yeah, so
thing.
Remembering how to get back.
So remembering like where the fuck everything is, that would have taken me. I don't know. That would have probably been a second, and it was probably designed to be this way, like a second half of the game.
Yeah, I feel like it was a lot of like, it had World of Ruin vibes for me, like FF6. It's like, you got to go back to the areas again.
Midpoint, go back to the areas, but FF6 is way more easy to navigate.
Yeah, you just go to every area on the map and you find somebody fixing shit. Like, so yeah, it is easier. And then there were a few times where I was getting like pretty flustered because I could not remember where to go, like how to get to these spots. Because there were some spots where like there would be an event that would take you from a spot to another spot, and I'm like, I don't know how to get back. Like the sewer one, that took me a little while. I had to look up videos, and
sewers. Okay, all right. I guess we can go to navigation is part of gameplay ish.
Yeah.
This game is not easy. This game to me, I twice had a different experience. This game was a giant pain in the dick, in terms of its difficulty level. And when we started this game, I was just having so many problems, and I still had problems all the way to the end. And this could have been like my controller. Like, I know the Retron controller is not great, and like all this other shit. You know, it could have been any of these things. Maybe it's easier on the original SNES, but the hitbox was obnoxious the entire game. And then the navigation was like the other Manas, in which it was like there's no, outside of like one place where you can fly to all the different areas, there's no like overarching like where the fuck am I? And so basically every area is a bit of a maze. And so, I don't know. I always have problems with navigation in games. And so when a game is like that, I just have extra problems. And then, I don't know why, because I don't have problems with navigation in real life. I only have problems with navigation in games. I wonder if it's just because I have like tunnel vision when I'm playing a game. And I'm not like thinking of the overall environment when I'm playing it. I'm just like thinking of the next like goal, basically. But I had problems with navigation, and I had problems with the hitbox pretty bad. But it plays just like, I guess we should probably talk about how it plays. It plays just like Secret of Mana. It's a over the head, kind of like a Zelda ripoff, basically, with basic action movements. This has a few ranged weapons. You hold down after your first attack. If you hold down the attack button, you can kind of like build up to a second attack if your weapon has been leveled up to that amount and have like a bigger hit. And you can like customize your dog that's also playing with you and attacking things to do the same thing.
Very Mana-like in that regard too. Do you remember? Okay, so I had an argument with somebody. It wasn't really, I guess it wasn't an argument. It was just they were remembering incorrectly, I think. I was like, okay, with the Mana games, I remember just being able to wait, and then your bar would fill up, and then you could do your super attack. Do you have to hold it in those ones too? Fuck, really?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Man, I hate that shit. There's like extra buttons on there, just sitting there doing nothing. Like,
yeah, you had to hold it to go past the initial 100%
Damn, I guess I was wrong. Yeah,
Yeah, it plays exactly the same, except the hitbox is way worse.
The hitbox is Secret of Mana bad.
Secret of Mana, no, I'd say about 30% worse.
Okay, that's...
I think it's worse, because your guy is bigger. He has like a weird... Secret of Mana was like, I point at area, I hit the area.
Yeah.
And side to side was like really like the squishy part with Secret of Mana. This one, it's not just that he points forward and the grid is like complex and he's a bigger, like he's a big sprite on the screen.
Yeah.
And so like your accuracy with where he's about to hit is annoying, but like depending on the weapon, like there will just be like a frog right in front of you. Mostly the frogs, guys. This is what I was dealing with here because there's frogs all over the fucking place in this game. Or the velociraptors. Those are a pain in the ass too.
Yeah.
There'll be a frog right in front of you. You'll like attack and it won't even like... It'll just go past it, but if the frog is like a foot away from you, you'll smash the frog, which I found to be obnoxious. So
yeah,
I couldn't stand it. I really had problems with the gameplay in this game. Like, if it played just like Trials of Mana, or even if it was to like the level of Secret of Mana, but because I played those two other games, I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah. See, I was getting mad about it, and I guess it wasn't Brulo. It must have been one of the other guys that was like sucking this game off in the chat. They were like, I don't know what you're talking about. The hitbox is great. And I'm like, no, dude. And I was like, maybe it's this controller, because I was playing with Jake's Super NES controller, and I'm like, I don't know if this controller is fucked up, but it's real hard to hit stuff in this fucking game. Well, and I'm glad the dog is a fucking beat stick, and the dog can hit stuff.
Yeah, so like... And there's other things with this too. Okay, so you have regular levels. It's an RPG, and you have to like level up your guy, and your guy will have like, you know, stat level ups, pretty standard. And then you also have to deal with weapons. So weapon level ups, such as like, you know, if you got a spear or if you have your gun, whatever the hell you got, you have to then level those up in order to get the next ability on the weapon. And let's say you get a brand new weapon, which you do every 2 seconds in this game, which is what makes this obnoxious. That weapon will take literally forever to level up because, by God, your dog's always going to be stronger than you. And if you get one hit off of a guy and your dog gets the kill, none of the experience points go to your weapon. You have to kill people with the weapon.
Which is, yeah, and it gets progressively harder because the dog's just over there bankrolling the XP because he's one unit.
Yeah.
He is the weapon.
So, I don't know about you, but I tried to level up another weapon for a while, and then I was like, fuck this.
Nothing's happening, yeah, because the dog.
But the other thing was like, I only had one weapon. One weapon had the second ability. And I knew they all could because the guide was basically...
Which one was it? Was it a spear?
It was a spear.
What you chuck?
It was the second spear. It was the bone spear.
That's what I had too. I used that against the serpent guy.
The second weakest, like the second weakest weapon in the game by the time I was done with it. And it was the only one where I could actually have some ranged attack.
Maybe I had one that was higher up because it wasn't super weak, but it was like 20 points weaker than my best weapon.
But the game gives you a new weapon all the time. And
I know.
These weapons need a bunch of experience in order to level up to the thing. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the gameplay of the game to like it was fun kind of thing. But man, if I didn't play this on an emulator, I'd be hurting. I don't know how the fuck you played it without save states.
I played it painfully and had to go back. And that sand area,
lots of leveling for you, I bet.
When I died to the second version of the anteater guy that's on the cover, I lost some time, dude. And I was like, I wanted to cry. I was like, what the fuck? I only have one day off. I go to this fucking anteater prick. There's not only do I have to deal with this bullshit, like, platform thing that keeps breaking, and then it's like, oh, well, now you're fucked. You got to go down the slide and then start it over. And it's like, which way do you go? And, of course, I'm an idiot, and I can't remember. My short-term memory is, like, just bad. And I can't remember which one is the fucked up one. And then I died a little bit. I just died just enough. And I went back, like, far. And then when I died to the fucking... Dude, I got onto the moon base, and the first velociraptor, he raped me in the fucking mouth, like, hard. I was like, holy shit! And, like, I got fucking laid out, and I went all the way back to before the woods. And then I had to go through the woods, fight the dragon in the woods, go out of the woods, through the second part of the woods, fight the dragon, then go to space, and then get back to the fucking Velociraptor, which I was terrified of when I got back.
The other brutal thing about this game is that like the save states are all hidden. Like where you go to save, they're all like, they're
scary.
guys in different areas, you know, that you have to find.
And the save was close. I just didn't find it.
Oh,
and then I died.
Yes, and like hidden areas to go save in that like you may not come across. And yeah, it's kind of a brutal game. It's kind of a brutal game, and it should have taken me twice as long to play it, basically. And I actually had like a lot of problems like being stuck on bosses and shit because like there's ingredients strewn about this game that you use the ingredients to do the spells, so everything kind of has like an ammo amount, I'd say. And like those guys are also really hard to find if you're not picking up shit on the ground every 5 seconds, which I did not. I picked up every once in a while. But like all the guys that you're buying ingredients from are also kind of like hidden from you. They are the secrets of Evermore. It's like, where the fuck do I find these people so I can buy some shit?
Where my peeps at?
Yeah. So and then like the spells also have the same level up thing. By the way, you gotta kill enemies with the spells.
It's a lot easier with the fucking spells. Though.
It is way easier with the spells.
They start to steamroll like the dog.
Yeah,
they get sick.
And so like, oh man, so it's really not a game for the faint of heart or for someone who's trying to go through it quickly like I was.
Yeah.
There was just like a certain point in the game. Luckily, there's a cheat, which I will tell you guys here soon. Cheap. There's a cheap. There's a cheap with a P.
Oh, okay.
That I'll tell you about soon. But yeah, man, it's just it's brutal. You got to play it like slow, carefully with like if you're going to play this right, you got to play it slow, carefully, and like check all the areas basically around you until you get those guys and you get the saves where you need them, and then go level up some more. And if the hitbox wasn't so terrible, it'd be more fun to do so. But at least you can level up your dog. You can like go into a new area and just kind of like run around and have your dog on aggressive mode and just like have him kill people. And luckily, when he kills people and you're in his presence, at least your character gets leveled up, if not your weapon. So that's nice.
Yeah, there were multiple times where I would get a weapon. Like when I was going through the woods, you get a weapon from the dragon in the middle of the woods, and then you get a weapon from the other dragon at the end of the woods. And I was like, dude, like I've had this weapon. Yeah. I've used this thing like twice.
Yeah.
And I've already got a new weapon. And then
you have to kill so many fucking enemies
to
get a level up. Brulo in the chat says it's 100, which I believe. I thought when I read how many you had to kill, I thought it was like an experience amount per weapon, so I'm not sure. But
I thought so too, but
dude,
hardest boss in the game though, the rat for sure.
Oh,
the Verminator guy.
Hardly any problems on him.
Are you serious? You must have had a good magic because I did not.
I did. I had refreshed my ingredients not long before him, knowing that he was coming up because I had looked at a guide there.
Yeah.
So honestly, that's part of it. There was like the first anteater in the game.
He fucked me up.
That I was not ready with the spell. Like I hadn't figured out that shit.
Or the opening up his fucking mouth and getting in there.
It's not his rib cage.
His rib cage. Yeah, whatever it is.
Those, that mouth thing in the middle of your chest.
Chest mouth.
Yeah, so you can get to the heart mouth, the mouth,
the little tiny heart, little alien heart.
Yeah, the Yugugula or whatever it is.
Yeah,
that's what you're killing.
Exactly.
Anyway, that thing was when I was like, Schweiss, I don't know about this game. Like, it's just like voice messaging or whatever the fuck I was doing. Where I was like, dude, this is fucking brutal. You have no idea. And it is. And I imagine it would be when you're not having save states. When I was having save states, I also got fucked over because I like skipped areas where I could have bought some shit or saved.
Yeah.
And so I was just like stuck in a save state in a bad spot like a few times in this game.
Yeah.
So actually kind of emulating made it faster in the end, probably. I probably had less time sitting on my ass playing this game than you did. Of course, there's no way of knowing because this game doesn't track your time. But at the same time, like, I don't know, that would have been difficult too in a different way, having to like level up a bunch and playing really carefully and then and being really thorough and finding all the areas. So I don't know. It's just it's an old school game and it is difficult.
Honestly, though, after...
And lots of bosses, too.
So before the rat, the only boss that killed me was the first one. I hadn't died to anybody in between those two.
Really?
Yeah. So I was getting pretty decent at the game for a while. And then I died to the final... I didn't die to the final boss, but I died to the... a group of enemies when the final boss was...
I got
that sequence.
I got pretty wrecked by the guys in the final area that were just in the hallway.
Oh, yeah.
Those were pretty brutal. And I eventually just had to be like, I got to figure out a way for the dog to take care of these guys.
The spinner dudes?
Yeah,
they would fuck you up.
Oh, man, they are... I killed like 2 with my own guy.
I got the dog every time, yeah.
I was like, okay, now my secret for the Spinaroo guys is to like walk forward 4 feet until he's coming at me, and then I like fuck off, and then the dog goes and like smashes him.
Yeah.
So... That's nice. You do have a companion who plays way better than you do.
Yeah. And occasionally I would switch to him, like when you had to destroy the fans in the last area.
Yeah. There's little puzzles you also have to switch to him with.
Yeah, you have to use the dog. I would go and shoot the mega beam in between 2 of the fans, and I hit 2 of them at once. Nice. And so I kind of burned through it. But then I like kept using the dog because I got pissed off at using the dude because I can never hit anything. And even when I do, it's like 40 damage. Yeah. The dog's like pulling 999 out of his ass.
The hitbox is atrocious.
It's pretty bad.
And
yeah.
I don't know why you think it's on the same level as Secret of Mana.
I thought Secret of Mana kind of sucked.
You also had fucking like drift on your controller. That's why I swear to God, Secret of Mana had problems with the hitbox as well, but they were not world ending because Secret of Mana is also an easier game.
Yeah,
so magic, I might be just taking Secret. I might be going easier on Secret of Mana because of that. Maybe they're exactly the same in their hitbox. Maybe they put the same fucking coding in. I have no idea. But for me, this one was way more brutal, which, I'm not sure if that's really something to say is good or bad about a game. I just thought that like it needed some more save points. And more obvious save points would have been nice. Especially if I were to play this like the correct way, And then also like, man, that hitbox is rough.
Yeah, I didn't like that. They brought the ring thing that the Manic series has that I really don't like back as well, where you like press the menu button and everything's in like a circle. I've never really been a fan of that.
It's not great, but at the same time, it's like, well, what other system would you have outside of like assigning a spell to someone,
Yeah.
Or like having the straight up like menu like a Final Fantasy.
I'd rather have the menu. But I mean, part of me is like still traumatized.
Where it's on the screen,
Yeah, I'm still traumatized by the drift that I had when I played Secret of Mana, and I would go into the menu and it would just be like, and I just had to wait for it to stop being a fucking moron.
Yeah.
It's like it's Tourette's. I have to wait for the episode to end. And
I
then
can
I was
imagine
like, okay.
that being a pain. But yeah, I would not say that I think the charm is in the story of the game and in the environment. I don't think it's in the gameplay. I think the gameplay is like close to being there, but not quite. I think like if the hitbox was better, sure, or if the enemies were easier, sure. Like, I have some real reservations about the gameplay. And in terms of gameplay, I'd actually rank it like 4th in the non-Mana series,
the non-Evermore Mana series.
The non-Evermore Mana series. If I were ranking it against the games with all the same things, I'd put it at the bottom, basically, of those. Like, the other Mana games play totally differently. So,
yeah.
Outside of children, I guess, but...
Yeah,
children has other problems.
One of the other cool things about the gameplay, I thought the like haggling that you do in the town, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, if they didn't give you a 10-minute timer for it, that's so many fucking people you gotta like figure out like who has what in order to get like the good armor basically in the game.
Yeah, but you can do it later. You can do it after that.
That's true. If you're not trying to beat it really quickly for a podcast, you could probably fuck around with it.
I fucked around every time until I had everything. So that's probably why it took me. I beat it in just under 30 hours.
Yeah, that's something about there's exchange currencies in this game for each of the worlds. And then, yeah, you're right. And there are markets in there where you can like go around and like, well, I'll give you 10 chickens for some peas. And then you get like another guy's like, well, I'll give you gold-plated armor for some chickens. And then you gotta like you gotta go from like you gotta figure out where ground zero is and then work your way through for like special items.
Yeah, if you've ever...
Which seemed like a really cool system if you had the time for it.
Yeah, it really makes you appreciate standardized currency. I'll tell you that right now. Because I'm like, man, I really wish I had some kind of like main currency that I could use to buy all this shit. Oh, wait, I do. I just got it for exchange for my last town's currency, but you people are too stupid to just take the money. Yeah, it's ridiculous. And then also, like, how does that work? You can exchange your currency, but these worlds are all supposed to be separate people's dreams. How do they have different currencies? How do they know what the other dream's currency is?
Well, the people in the world are in the world.
Yeah, I guess.
There's got to be people on the border.
Yeah.
Not that you would know that. Every area is a fucking maze, and it's not like you can walk from one end of the world to the other. So, I don't know. I'm mixed on the gameplay. Like, there's a lot of cool stuff in there, but I really feel like the action part of the game was ridiculous, like unbalanced, really unbalanced.
Another cool element that's in this game is the alchemy system, which is the magic. And to cast magic, you have to give the alchemic formula.
We went over that briefly, but yeah.
And then you find ingredients. You mentioned that before, but the really cool part to me, and this really reminded me of like Fable 2, is your dog. You can like press a little button, either L or R, and he'll like start sniffing around, and he'll just like sniff and like go off into a certain part of the area. And then you can go dig up ingredients for the alchemy, which I thought was super cool. Eventually, though, capitalism always won for me, and I was like, fuck that, I'm just going to buy them. But I thought it was really awesome, because like there were a few times in the game where I didn't really have very much money, and so I would just go back to an area, and like the dog would just dig up a bunch of shit for me, and I'd just like build up my stores, and then level up my my magic. So I thought that was pretty cool. Just like I was like, this is a really cool little thing for an old game to do, like a feature where the dog, like, he just like goes and explores and finds stuff for you.
Yeah. Would that he did it every single second of the game so that you could have enough for every boss fight.
Yeah. Yeah, instead of you having to take the time to do it.
Yeah, there's just some boss fights that are harder to hit, which of course difficult in this game already. And so you want like some range, or you want some magic. Like that rat guy you said was the hardest. I think you went to him at the wrong time. You didn't have anything leveled up. I had explosion leveled up to level 2. So I was able to like, and I gathered up all the ingredients, so I had like 40 something explosions.
Oh yeah, that was,
and I was just like bam, 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 and I just ran around and got. So he wasn't that hard for me.
I hit him a few times. I had to use like a mid-tier spear in addition to that. So like I was charging up my attacks, like casting magic, still holding the attack down, and I hit him with like 2 or 3 spells, and then I chucked the spear at him for a shitload of damage, and I do the call beads, and I had like, it was like a military operation on this poor guy to finally kill him, but he was trashing me the first few times.
The boss that was the most annoying didn't take me the most times to kill. That was probably the first boss that did.
Yeah, same.
The boss that was most annoying was the dragon that would take Joe,
and
he would pick him up and drop him like 5 floors down, while there's still other guys around, because I didn't completely kill everybody. And basically what I did was play as the dog the whole time in that fight, and just like keep on like having to switch over to the boy for the boy to heal himself real quick.
Yeah.
And then just play it as the dog to kill that dragon. But that dragon was a dick.
I kept doing explosion when he would just come onto the screen a little bit. God damn. Fuck, I'm like dying here apparently. And that's how I killed him. I didn't really use the dog. And the problem I had with the dog, and I'd get like carried away using the dog, especially when he was Toaster Dog, I would just not pay attention to my main guy, and then when he dies, it's game over. And so that's why I died in the last area, like that final like fucking arena of fights. That's why I died there, was because I was toastering instead of playing as the main guy.
I died a few times, but I had save states.
Yeah. It is kind of a tougher game, though. Like, I don't think it's as hard as you do, but I think I had to play it differently because I didn't have the save state, so I think that might have been part of it.
Yeah, that gets you to level up more and everything like that. Now, this is my trick. I think we've gone over most of the game, right?
Yeah.
Okay. This is the trick, guys. There is one boss named Tiny in an Egyptian pyramid-like place where you have to like get teleported over and over randomly until you finally spawn in front of the boss. And you're like in this like square and you're just running around in circles getting teleported. While Tiny, is throwing these ghouls at you from the floor above you. It's a really interesting, weird setup of a boss fight. There's a level up trick in this game. You do have to be a little patient with it. I'm sure if you bumped up your speed or something like that, this would be a lot easier. Or if I I'm always wanting a robot, like a repetitive like a Roblox robot to just like do a motion for me so I can walk away from games that have these kind of like fucking cheap shit. But while he's doing it, he will literally, if you don't get in front of him, if you don't step on a teleport that takes you to him, he will toss ghouls all day long. Forever. And these ghouls are not that hard to kill, especially for your dog.
Yeah.
And of course, every time the dog kills something, you get XP. So what you do is when you're in one of these areas, they're all like L-shaped, things. You go into a corner and you just press down against the stick so that your guy is just facing the corner. And so when something hits him, he runs back into the corner. He doesn't run to a teleport. And you just stand there and you let your dog kill every single thing that guy throws at you. And occasionally you'll get hit by the other thing. And sometimes it'll look like it's close. Sometimes it looks like you're almost going to die and you might need to heal yourself. But then boop, you'll get a level up right at that time. And your health will go all the way up. And guys, I leveled up a few times. Like, I think I was there for like 3 hours or something like that doing other shit. And occasionally, here's the thing. You can't leave it alone because occasionally the dog gets stuck and the ghoul gets stuck and they just like stand there. Like there's a weird glitch in the game. So then you have to move your guy so that the ghoul will like go, oh, there's the guy. And then move again. So you do have to be there for it. You can't like walk away totally. But yeah, I leveled up 10 times. I think it was 10. Damn. I think there was a number, like an HP number I wanted to get to. Cause I had like scrubbed ahead on a video and I was like, okay, he's at this number at this point in the game. And I wanted to be at that level near the end of the game at that point. And I still had a third of the game left. So let me tell you, the rest of the game,
super easy.
Outside of the fuckers in the hallways, smooth as butter. The silliest level up trick in the fucking world because the game is just like, honestly, they're just throwing levels at you if you just like let the dog handle it. It's crazy.
Yeah, that is pretty nuts.
Yeah.
I didn't do that. You told me about it and you had a video, but
yeah, I had instructions in case Twice had a hard time, but apparently I had a harder time with the game up to that point. And then of course my dog lasered everything to death in the third area.
Yeah. The toaster's turned on high.
Yeah. And I had an HP of like 500 by the time that game ended.
That's definitely more than I had.
Yeah, it was like at level 50 or something. I don't remember exact numbers, but yeah.
I think I was 35 when I beat the game. So yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah, so my dog was just like plowing. Of course, I only had one weapon the entire game that was leveled up to the second level, which was still silly.
Yeah, it's so dumb.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
Just gets too overpowered. You can't get anything in. You can't get anything done.
Yeah. So gameplay wise, I'm kind of split on it. There are things I like about it. I think it's clever. I think it just needed more polish.
Yeah, there's cool stuff. I like the alchemy system. I like the magic and stuff. But I mean, honestly, that magic was really good in the mana games too. So I don't know. The dog was super fun, especially Laser Dog.
Laser Dog. So real quick on the design and the art is interesting on the game. The music is interesting. Schweiss is dying. So I guess I'll kind of go over it. Schweiss talked about earlier how they scanned the straight artwork into the thing, so they could just basically, I guess, do a 1-to-1 transfer over to pixels. So that would have been interesting. I don't know exactly how that system would have worked, but
yeah.
Art design's interesting for this one. It's definitely got like a rounder look, like a more like dark kind of look to everything, very westernized. But it's pretty colorful, and I liked it. I liked the way it looked for a SNES game.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I think they utilized the tech pretty decently for the time, considering how old this game is. Nothing crazy like what we got with FF6.
No.
No,
it's also a lot closer. Like your character on the screen is bigger and everything like that. So yeah, I thought that was cool. Nothing like crazy. Yeah, nothing, not top of the line, but good looking game. And then the music I thought was really stellar.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Kudos to Bounty Hunter guy.
Yeah.
It's good work.
But he does do good work. I mean, he's the Skyrim guy. So
yeah.
And I really liked the score in this one. It had a lot of just character to it, and every area had kind of like a unique feel, and it was all portrayed in the music. And there was a lot of stuff that when I was playing it, I was humming it. I don't think it's as strong as my favorite in the Mana series. That, of course, this game isn't technically a part of, but
yeah, but we're gonna compare it.
Yeah, but we're gonna compare it
all day.
But
all the secrets.
But it was very good. It was definitely not a Japanese composer.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's definitely an American or a Western style score for sure. But I liked it a lot. What else do we have? What Legacy?
Yeah, Legacy of the game. So the Legacy, in my opinion, it's kind of a lost gem. Honestly,
gem.
Yeah. And this one's actually a gem. It's not just a pretend gem that everyone says is really great and that it's not.
Playing.
Yeah, it really is. This is a solid game. I think it just suffers as far as the legacy goes from the other games that came out around it being so famous and so big and such big deals, with Final Fantasy VI, of course, and then Chrono Trigger, the endlessly asked about title.
We'll get to it. The one we'll get to eventually if Schweiss doesn't die of COVID before then.
Yeah, no shit.
Okay, so we do have we got 2 reviews for Secret of Evermore. Shit. Oh, shit. By the way, stay tuned for our announcement at the end when we actually have to fight this out as far as like what our next fucking game's going to be. So we would like your questions and your reviews for that. I don't know if we got any questions or reviews in Discord, but it'd be good if you could check that right now. I'm just in our Gmail.
Yeah, I'll pull it up.
I will go with Tyler Wilson has a pretty hefty review, so let's listen to this. Tyler Saurus Rex. Sorry for saying your full name because that's what I saw on the Gmail. Secret of Evermore review.
I doubt that's his real name.
Oh, wow. Okay, we're starting off hot. I bought this pile of shit from a sketchy cash for gold pawn shop next door to a liquor store and a strip club called Hot Legs Lounge somewhere in the mid-90s. If I recall, I paid $5 for it. I also bought FF6, Chrono Trigger, and Secret of Mana for the same price.
Oh, wow.
Holy shit. Nice. They all had some other kid's name written on the cartridge, but came with... God damn it. It came with their open boxes and manuals. I've still got all of them to this day. Nice. FF3, as I knew it then, got a lot of love. So did Chrono Trigger, and Secret of Mana gets an honorable mention. That said, even then, I recognized that this game sucked. I tried playing it a few times and never made it past the ant boss, I can imagine, at the beginning of the game. I shelved it, lent it to friends who were suspiciously quick to return it to me, and generally forgot about this game completely until I heard that you guys were going to play it and review it. Fast forward a few decades to the week before last. I went down to my basement storage room and rifled through a few old boxes full of shit that I've packed around with me for years until I found it. That's the degree of esteem I held for this game. It didn't even warrant an inclusion in my video game collection itself. On a side note, I found a few other cool things, including a switchblade knife, an age-worn paper envelope stuffed full of $2 bills with the name Richard written on the front of it, and half a pack of decades-old Camel Lights brand cigarettes, and a small glass bong from my college days. I fired up the SNES, and in 20 short...
And the bong.
I fired up the SNES, and in 20 short hours, I beat it. Okay, enough messing around. Here's my review of the game. Story. What does a mad scientist, his chess-playing butler robot, his niece, some fat chick, an archaeologist, and an archaeologist have in common? They're all lurking around Dr. Frankenstein's castle at the same time. You get to create a whole world of your own in Evermore, and you make a cuck-tier simulation of dinosaurs, Middle Ages, and chessboard castles. Psh. The whole cast of characters are flat, their motivations are stupid, and everyone has an evil clone. After the fake fire eyes, I could see the rest of the plot twist coming a mile away. When the green horse shows up, I shivered with cringe-induced chills. The ending was very satisfying, and the main character learned nothing. Good old podunk. Nothing strange here. Aw, shucks. The main character is an obnoxious B-movie enthusiast who learns nothing, has no character development, and somehow is able to battle hordes of monsters with a no big deal attitude. The only part I thought was entertaining was the circus-like sideshow. Okay, interesting. Gameplay. The game's magic system relies on gathering items to be used in alchemy for casting spells. Kind of reminds me of a shittier version of Chrono Cross. Finding the best spells depends on doing a little searching, but not much, to find the people that teach you their tricks. For the rest of the game, you just receive weapons as random drops and use them until you get something better. I literally never switched weapons manually once in the game. I just got the new thing and used it. I actually seldom felt the need to change up for higher level attacks. The mazes. The fucking mazes.
Oh, yeah.
I fucking hate mazes. The art style of this game didn't lead you down any primrose paths. There were lots of forests and other visual artifacts in this game that were confusing and non-intuitive. Switch to the dog to jump over a river? When the fuck did it ever tell you that was a thing? And the dog maze in the castle air ducts. Do castles even have air conditioning? Fuck that. It was horrible. It took me hours to figure that out.
I hated that fucking place.
And even then with a guide and a YouTube video. Yeah. Sorry. I think I read somewhere that this game was never even released in Japan. I'm not a weeb, but if I were a Japanese person, I'd be embarrassed to subject my own population to this abomination too. Conclusion. It could have been a really cool game. It had a lot of potential. For its time, not terrible to look at, but doesn't have the polish that other awesome titles of the generation had. 1 out of 10, and it'll be another 30 years before I ever play it again.
Yeah, the fucking maze is pretty bad. In the air ducts. I hated that fucking thing.
God.
Yeah,
wow, they really hated it. I didn't hate it. I mean, I had a lot of the same problems. I didn't hate it. I also liked the story. For an SNES game, I'm not judging it to God of War or anything like that. I think, and it was way more memorable than the Mana games.
Yeah.
I can't remember a goddamn thing about the plot of the Mana games. Even like right after I played them, I'm like, I don't know what the fuck happened. I read every line, but don't remember. This game I remembered. So I don't know. That's kind of my that's my defense.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think it's a little crazy.
I got some. Brulo has a review, which I'll just spare you so that you can. If you could pull up his questions though in Discord, we can get to those.
Yeah,
next.
I got them.
But I will say his review and then we'll answer some questions here. So Brulo asks, for most, by the way, check out his brewing podcast. I don't know what it's called at the moment right now, but Brulo is on it. For most people that actually play FF, their first FF is their favorite, and it's usually somewhere between 4 to 9. For a young teen growing up in a medium-sized Wisconsin city, however, their first Final Fantasy game might not have been an FF game at all. Thanks, Cecil. My brother and I would make the daily trek to the local video game store during the summers spent at home playing Dave Mirra BMX, eating mac and cheese. We were on the hunt for anything Squaresoft or just rare RPGs in general. Back when you needed the physical card to actually play the game, and that shit was hard to find. Very early in our odyssey, I decided to buy the one Squaresoft game regularly on display in the video game store, Secret of Evermore. I was personally hoping for a copy of FF2, 3, Chrono Trigger, Secret of Mana, Harvest Moon, Earthbound, but Evermore was what I got. Only having a SNES, I put the fucking cartridge into the gray and purple console instantly and was transported to the world of Evermore with my trusty sidekick wolf / pharaoh hound / poodle / robot. Oh yeah, he changes forms every time. We talked about that. We only talked about the robot though. Brulo experienced what Square put out, and he fucking loved it. The only thing missing from this game was a skeleton guitar that I could strum when jacking off about how great this game is. I somehow beat this game, and the odds, as it seems like no one else even knows about Evermore, was an early teen. I'm sorry, did I?
The secret must have been forgotten forevermore.
This game and the odds. And the odds as an early teen, and it remained one of my favorite Square titles to this day. I think I fucked up on the reading on that. There are certain gripes I have with the game. The magic system could use some quality of life improvements. The hitboxes for flying enemies that have a that's true. That's even worse than the frogs that have a knockback effect are pretty fucking annoying. And the currency exchange is fun world building, but not necessary. Those gripes are tiny, though. This game is a game every fan of Square Enix should play. It's quintessential 90s action RPG. The story is straight up Square meta fun, and the dialogue pretty hilarious. The battle system is the best of the early Mana games. The graphics and music are some of the SNES's best. This is probably one of the first and only Square games made entirely by North American employees, and it shows. Yeah, I'm sure Caleb and Joe won't review this game particularly high compared to most of the Mana games, and maybe they're right.
Were you high?
Perhaps my nostalgia. I don't know. Have you played? Oh no, you didn't. You didn't play the last two, did you?
No.
Did you, Brulo? Brulo was playing along with us until he pussed out. Anyway. Maybe they're right. Perhaps my nostalgia is clouding my view, but I will keep replaying this game over any Mana game until I die. To me, this was my first FF. My first introduction to Square, and it's probably my favorite. And he's ranking it against the Mana series, which it does not technically belong. Rankings: number 1, Secret of Evermore. Number 2, Secret of Mana. Number 3, Trials of Mana. Number 4, Adventures of Mana. Number 5, Children of Mana. Number 6, Getting Hit by a Train. Number 7, Dawn of Mana. Number 1,000,000, Heroes of Mana.
Yeah, that's, I mean, how could you think, man, isn't it Brulo? Brulo, aren't you the one that's also playing 14 that gave a shit about our rankings or our last 14 review?
We ranked it the highest?
We ranked it the highest, yeah. Like,
yeah.
Man, you guys...
Sorry, it just sounded negative. We ranked it
I guess,
high.
yeah. I mean, honestly, I was getting pissy with this game like 2 or 3 times, and I did say, I'm fucking tired of this game's bullshit, like twice. One of them was when I was in that cocksucking fucking dog peanut butter ball sack licking
cocksucking and cock fucking
dog. The vent thing in the castle. I was like ready to cry. I was like, this is so evil. Like, who the fuck? Who thought of this?
I followed a guide to the T in that part. It was like turn left, turn right.
I did eventually, yeah.
Left, right, left, and I was like. Left, right, left, save state, right. Like, that's what I did to get through there.
That, and then there was one other area where I was like getting pissed, and it was tough. There were some tough areas and some tough bosses.
Yeah,
but yeah, no, dude, it's. I would say it is probably up near the top of the Mana games if it was a Mana game.
I'm kind of, well, yeah. I guess we're not technically ranking this one, so I'm in the middle on it. I think it's I don't think it's as good as Secret. I don't think it's as good as Trials. I think it is probably better than Adventures of Mana, just because the story is better. But I think the gameplay in Adventures is a little bit better. And then all the other Mana games. So I'd rank it third.
Yeah,
That's fair. And that's because the other two games I thought were just like more fun to play.
Oh, Brulo, he says in the chat he's going to hate on our 14 reviews until we admit it's top 3.
Never.
That is not going to happen.
Never. Unless they like fucking revamp the game and make it all dungeon. Never.
It's not even top 3 in the MMOs. It's a list of 2.
What?
Just kidding.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I had to like calculate that in my head for a second.
Yeah. So
I'm an idiot. You got his questions?
Yeah, I do. So, I mean, with that, though, 11's got a better story than 14, dude. I'm
11
sorry.
does have a better story. It does. It's much more economical with it.
Yeah.
With all the stories in 11, they're more economical. I think the cutscenes... I'm not the fully rendered cutscenes or anything like that. I think a lot of the cutscenes are better directed in 11, not the early expansions, but the later ones especially.
Oh, yeah.
Like Wings of the Goddess expansion is really well done for like considering all like the technical shit that's in. Anyway, it's fucking 11 talk.
Yeah, and it's, I don't know, there's some like longing for that game to me in some ways. Like I kind of miss it sometimes.
I think you're an abused spouse. That and you have like convinced yourself that 11 really loves you and is really like good on the inside, but every time you actually go back to it, you'll see that it's actually horrible.
Yeah,
in a different way. It's like brutal. 11's way harder than this game.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So Brulo's Evermore questions: 1, favorite dog form? Easily Toaster Dog.
Oh, yeah, Robot Dog.
Robo Dog is Robo Weenie.
Mostly because
perfect.
He's the most useful for.
Yeah. Favorite weapon? I guess the spear, because I could do ranged and close range, but the weapons mean nothing in this game.
Yeah, the bone spear was probably the most useful. One of there was a certain point where I got a weapon in the game and like my attack went up quite a bit and it was nice. It was like the golden sword. I'm not sure.
Oh,
yeah.
I know which one you're talking about.
When that one came into the thing, it was like,
gladiator sword or something.
It was that. It was a gladiator sword. That was pretty sweet. It was just because when it came up in the game, it was a nice time because I think that was the only gap in the game where there wasn't a weapon every 5 seconds. So.
Yeah, no shit.
It was nice.
You actually got to use it. You got to be familiar
with it.
Which
is why you got the second stage in the bone spear.
Yeah.
Because we had that weapon long enough.
We had it for so fucking long.
Yeah, there we go.
The dog wasn't hogging all the kills. Any bosses you found interesting or overly frustrating? For him, the second form of the spider was quite annoying as he had a counter, which apparently damage over time attacks trigger.
We talked about this already. It's the first boss, which was like coming out of nowhere, being the hardest game of all time, and then followed by the dragon that would pick you up and throw you, and you would have to have your characters run up back to him.
Yeah.
Pain in the ass.
He also says, took a North American team to finally give a man a game a story, I guess, huh? At least we didn't have a werewolf baby. Yeah, that's true.
That's true.
That was pretty weird.
That's true. And a werewolf baby would have actually fit in this one.
Yeah, this one would have worked, because it's all B-movie shit. Anything about this game at all memorable that you will recall 6 months from now? Definitely the dog. Toaster Dog's pretty legit.
Nevermore. Oh, I'm sorry. Evermore will be Nevermore.
Can't even recall it now.
Evermore will be Nevermore forevermore.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'll remember that.
Yeah, I'll remember that.
And then he'll ask me a question about it later. I'll be like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, it's like, what is this tongue twister?
Yeah, what is this?
Sally sells seashells.
Don't you remember on that episode? No.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'll remember the dog. I'll probably remember the magic system and the dog like finding ingredients. I thought that was really cool. Those are probably the most memorable things in this game, honestly. The soundtrack is pretty damn good. And there were a few tracks that I was really into. But I don't know. I think that's probably about it. I think it's
upper middle tier. I think it was a pretty good game, and it's sad that it's not available for everyone.
It is, yeah. It's sad that it has never been ported, and you got to get the cartridge, you know. But I think it's one of those. I do think this one is for sure a forgotten gem of sorts. Like, it has some shitty aspects to it, obviously.
Yep.
But I would say it is a forgotten gem due to being sandwiched in between two massive games.
Yep.
That were localized at the same time as this one coming out.
Japanese are missing out a little bit, I think. Obviously, we had one reviewer who thought it was a piece of shit. So, you guys at home, I don't know where you're gonna fall on that.
I wonder what do you think of Type Zero? Yeah, I thought this one was a piece of shit.
To Trevor Soros, what was his name? Tyler Soros.
Tyler Soros, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to know. It'd be like, yeah, I cried. You guys are assholes.
Yeah, I cried, you dicks. You get a 1-star review. They don't cry anymore.
That is not true.
Yeah, just not at your lame Type Zero.
I don't cry at real life stuff. I do cry at movies.
And see, this is kind of the North American version of that, though, where it's like never been seen in Japan.
Do you think any of them give a shit about? There's got to be some Square Enix guys.
There's probably some, that it like hurts. But I mean, here,
you can have my shitty cartridge. Try to make it work. Take as long as it did for me to try to make it work.
I just wonder because I know
I can't even resell that game. I can't, like, in good conscience, give anybody that cartridge.
Yeah, mine is fine. I think it's just the classique. It's a piece of shit.
It's not the emulator.
Yeah, I do think it's interesting. Type Zero was like a game that it was the coveted one. Like, Japan was like, no, this one's really good. Like, this is the one. This is Tabata's like good game. And then we got it, and I was like, are you fucking kidding me? This is the game that you guys are like talking up. Like, you can't have it. It's too good for you, America. You guys are either trolls or you're fools. It's one of those two.
They just want to save face. They want to look better than they actually are.
Yeah, and then they finally poured it, and then like everyone's not. And a lot of people really like it though. Like, man, that Final Fantasy
would the secret Type Zero would the Type Zero secret be like as if like you put on one of those suits that make it look like you have a 6-pack?
Yeah. Oh,
it's
yeah.
like the equivalent of that.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're standing really far away from you. They're like on the other side of a field and like flexing.
Yeah. Look at me.
Oh, it's M-rated.
Yeah. Finally, a mature Final Fantasy.
While they're posing.
Yeah. You're like, oh, thank God for that. Nothing says mature like crying.
Loud crying.
Yeah, it's like
for a teenager. What the fuck?
Yeah, I read fucking.
It's like the only time I ever saw that was from a kid who had like Asperger's.
Yeah.
Who like just took a little longer to develop emotionally. Like one time he got hit in the face with a basketball and he went like a child.
Yeah.
But we were all like, yeah, he has Asperger's, just leave him alone. Like,
yeah, I mean,
but for any other teenager, no. What the fuck are you What the fuck are you doing? Like, who cries like that?
Yeah, I mean, they were dying painfully, but still, I mean.
But I mean, I'd have to check with like people who work with people who are on their deathbed or whatever, like. How often does the loud crying happen?
Yeah. You're like, what are you talking about?
I mean, I would
type in Final Fantasy Type Zero ending.
Yeah, we all definitely hope we'll die in our sleep.
Yeah.
But I really hope when I get like the word that I have like 6 months to live, like everybody else in my family that has had to deal with that, I really hope I don't do any loud crying. And
yeah.
It's just like, well, now I just might die of embarrassment.
Yeah, I read Shogun. You're supposed to shut up and die in silence.
Yeah, that's what the Japanese are supposed to do.
Yeah.
According to Shogun, written by
Shut the fuck up.
James Clavell.
Yeah. Shut up and die, you piece of shit. Yeah, not loud cry. Good God, who would be afraid of that civilization? Just a bunch of kids loud crying. Yeah, dude. It's so bad. God. Yeah, it was like, this is your gem, this is your diamond in the rough.
I don't know. It's so funny how often we come back to this thing. Like, how often do we have to talk about how Type Zero was like, eh?
Yeah.
And then that ending was real dumb.
The ending was bad, yeah.
Like, they could all have been sitting there and just been like, eh. They could have done their, like, anime, like
you can't tell if they're coming or they're being like...
Oh, I found a guy on YouTube made fun of that. I was like, finally. finally someone else, like, I don't know, I brought that up like 6 years ago. I swear to God.
Yeah.
It's just like, why am I watching? Whenever I watch an anime, there was like they'll go up like one stair and like they're acting like they're 400 pounds. Like,
yeah. It's like I can't tell if you're getting like diddled or you're like struggling or dying.
No, they're
or something.
struggling. They're always struggling. That's the funny thing about it. Like, let me dramatically grab this cord, my cord. Yeah. Like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, it's like they're all Jimmy from South Park. Yeah, every fucking anime character is just Jimmy.
And they're trying to say something and it's just not coming out.
I hate these fucking stairs. Yeah.
That's a great fucking character. All right.
Yeah, I love him. He's great.
All right. So we both enjoyed the game.
Yeah, I had a good time. It's fun to,
It was frustrating, I thought, but I enjoyed it.
It's frustrating at times, but I think it's a fun, old school, classic game. This is one of the oldest games left, too. I think this actually is the oldest game left in our podcast.
Trigger is the other one around the same time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. Don't worry, Square Enix just keeps on shoving shit in the Kingdom Hearts pipeline to make the make the list longer.
Yeah.
Although I don't know if it's shit. The only Kingdom Hearts I've played is 1 and 2. And someone was like in the chat earlier this week going like, is Kingdom Hearts any good? I'm like, doesn't everybody know that Kingdom Hearts is good? And it's like, well, I've really only played 1 and 2. And obviously like 3 for a lot of people left a bad taste in their mouth, and the sequels or all the little spin-offs as well. So
yeah.
Hopefully we're not in dog shit territory for a long time in Kingdom Hearts. I'm afraid we might be, but that is near the end.
Yeah, but it's also near where we are. So I guess this one came out 7 months-ish after Chrono. So Chrono's the oldest game left.
Okay.
And then this one. So I don't know. It's kind of cool getting some Super NES. The way we played the games for the podcast is kind of weird. And so it's almost like, I don't know, to me it's weird that we're like going back in time again. It
gives us variety.
It does give us variety.
That's why I came up with the system of like, you're just moving out. You're moving out. There's the circle, that's Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
And then you're going in a spiral, and you're spiral on, and you keep going until we die, because the series is never going to end.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my, there's the core of the circle, and we're just making our way around until we finally make our way out of the spiral.
Yeah, and then we die of old age.
Yeah. And it's like a planet, going around the sun,
Yeah, in a spiral.
In a spiral.
Like planets do. Like how we do.
Well, actually, what I mean is like a rocket.
Oh, okay.
Or like a comet. Like, a new comet.
That time where we all roast to death.
Obviously, my first metaphor was stronger.
I think you're thinking of like a galaxy, maybe, but
I just feel like it's like we got the core of Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
And then we work our way out in a circle. Like a spiral. I don't know how many times I had to go back to it, but like a spiral. So we actually have to debate what comes next. But first, I'm going to do a plug. If you guys could go and go to Instagram and go to Facebook, and there's going to be a page for Chicken Coop Movie. Please go like those pages. Follow me on YouTube. I am doing a nearly daily vlog about the making of this movie called Chicken Coop, and there will be more information there. There's also information up on my website, josephDugolier.com. And if you click on like films, you will see the Chicken Coop. You'll like hover over films, and you'll be able to click on the Chicken Coop page, or you follow those other things, and I will keep on like throwing that link at you. Basically, we are making another movie. The 13th Cross is set to come out the 14th of December. It was just announced in Deadline, which is kind of cool. So be excited for 13th Cross. I hope you guys like it. I don't really feel like I'm the same filmmaker I was a few years ago, or don't have nearly as many like things in my way as far as like technical shit. Like I could not edit 13th Cross, and someone else had to. So there's like things where I'm like, and I think I'm just a better filmmaker now and a better writer. So I look at 13th Cross as like, well, I'm really glad I was able to do what I did with what I had.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I feel about it. But I hope you guys like it. I mean, people tell me they like it. I don't know if I can really believe them, but people tell me they like it.
You guys will like it. There's some stuff in there that's for you and for me, and that's about it.
Okay.
Some music choices that you guys will find familiar.
Okay, yeah. I mean, Greg Tryon, who's been on this show a million times, did the score, and I think he did a really good job.
And then there's also the heavy metal track of the Douchebag Boyfriend that you guys will find oddly familiar.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you might find... Yeah, there's a bunch of, like, little...
Yeah, I was having a great time drinking and watching that movie. It was fun.
Okay, good. And I think we should do some, like, commentaries, probably on the Getting Fat feed or something like that. Yeah. People can line them up.
And I can endorse the new one in good conscience now that the old one's finally coming out with the
Jesus. That was the thing. It was like...
It's been done for years.
We will probably crowdfund in some... I think we're actually going to probably do a round. We'll see. I got a producer working on this now. We will probably crowd invest for the production of the film, and then the post-production we will probably crowd fund. So for people who want to maybe have a chance of getting their money back and more, like, it's a Christmas movie. We're making a fucking Christmas movie. It's a different Christmas movie. It's like artsy-ish and kind of a drama and like a small like chamber piece drama. But it does take place at Christmas, so we can sell it as a Christmas movie, which means it actually has the opportunity to make money every year for about a decade.
Yeah.
And so... please invest in our film when that comes up, and the more, if you follow our stuff, you'll know when that's happening, and you'll be able to like join our mailing list on that webpage that I have set up on my site, and you can get more information about that. And I'd really appreciate it if you guys could come along with this. I understand if you want to hold off and wait until 13th Cross comes out. I don't know when we're actually going to start our first like round of campaign or whatever, or I guess we have like 2 contacts that might be interested in investing into a movie, and so they might see our business plan first, and we'll see. But don't worry, if you forget to sign up for the email list, you'll get one anyways. There will be, don't sweat, but there will be an opt-out option. Don't worry about that. Yeah, I thought that was funny last time, but well, you can legally do that. You can legally take an old email list, and you can start, if you have an email, you can set it to them in an email list, but there has to be an opt-out button on it. Oh, okay. And we're using MailChimp, so people can opt out of it. All right. So, and they will have opt-out of 13th Cross's email list, and if I still have that same email list, which I don't actually know if I do, I might have to, like... I don't know if I actually have that email list anymore. I think I had to like re-up on MailChimp. So I don't think I have that old email list, but maybe I do. Anyway, guys, I would really appreciate it if you followed along. If you like to hear me talk about movies or movie making, by the way, you can ask any sort of question on YouTube and I will answer. It does not have to be with movies. Since it's a daily vlog, I will not mind having other things to talk about. But if you could please follow me on YouTube, I would very much appreciate it. Watch the whole video, comment, like, do all that. If you're interested. If you're not interested, don't worry about it. But if you're interested or like kind of interested, go check it out. Now let's debate what the fuck game we're gonna play next. All right, because with the making of the movie, and then I'll let you intro. Yeah. With the making of the movie, I'm gonna be my stress level for the next 4 months, assuming we can get the money for the film and we can make it by the time we need to, which is late February. My next 4 months is going to be a stress-a-rama. And I don't know when things will come up. And although new people are being added to the team to kind of take a lot of the tasks I thought I was going to have to do away from me, so there might be some time to video game, I do not think it is nearly sufficient. I don't think it's sufficient at all to even beat the post. What was the name of the last? Stormblood. Oh wait, no, it's not Stormblood. Shadowbringers. Thank you. Yes. Yeah, to do the post Shadowbringers content, because that's going to be like 60 hours in and of itself, and I just do not know if I have that time. I also can hotspot FF14, and it worked just fine when I went into a dungeon and played. but I cannot really super rely on my internet out there where I'm at right now. And I should be getting an apartment because if you guys don't know, I'm living in a travel trailer right now because there was a housing crisis right as soon as I got a job in that little town called Cedar City. And so I had to like just rent a lot out and grab the family travel trailer. And I've been living in that, which of course couldn't get the internet to set up. I think I might have whined about that on Nude Clan or here, or I don't know where. But yeah, 14 is just coming out at a bad time for me. And I am 100% sure that playing 14 for me, I mean, Schweiss, you can play it whatever the fuck you want. It doesn't matter to me. Like, you can just hop on and just play with the other guys for a little while. Just do whatever. But for me, 14 is just, like, not in the cards up until March. I really don't think so.
All right.
I mean, unless, like, the movie, like, goes to hell and we have to push it a year. Then it probably will be. then it'll be February.
Well, yeah, because you have to do it in, like, winter, right? That's the whole...
Yeah, because we're not going to ask for a big enough budget where we can, like, cover the trees in snow. We have to have leaves not on the trees, which that is about as late as we can go. And even then, like, they're going to probably start budding around there.
Maybe that you can do that at the end of the movie, you know, like it's a new beginning.
Ooh, I'll see. But anyway, that's where we're at with that. It's just not going to be a good idea. So we have in the part of the list where I'm sorry, guys, is what I want to say to the people that we were going to play 14 with. We're still going to play 14 at some point.
Yeah.
Just not in the next 4 months, which is too bad because that new expansion is coming out. And I really feel bad about that. But I just cannot serve two masters with this kind of stuff. With the full-time job I have, which I'm not going to like fuck off and leave like I would have another job, just to make this movie. I need to have attention there, and then I need to have attention at this podcast, and I need to have attention a whole bunch of places, but the movie is still going to take priority, just because they don't come around that often. Like, I don't get a team like this together and get all this work and everything into it when, you know, and this can be put off a lot more easy.
Yeah.
A lot easier. And I know it's a new expansion, and that sucks. And I hope you guys have a lot of fun playing it. But I just cannot join for 14. It is just not... If I did, I would be there hardly ever, and I wouldn't get very far, and there would never be an episode that would come out within the next 4 months outside of the Crenitol review, which we will probably put out in the next 4 months.
Yeah, we will. So, other than that, right now, the list, we are in Final Fantasy Cameos Part 1, which is for only characters and creatures that show up in the games in their original forms, not just references, nor in-game events or DLC. Secret of Evermore. And then Airgaze, God Bless the Ring is the second one.
Damn that disc.
Yeah. That one's interesting because I've kind of taken a hardball. Like, I think we should beat the dungeon mode in there because nobody knows about the dungeon mode. It's like this weird... It's totally different from the rest of the game. It's like a rogue kind of dungeon crawler game.
Yeah, which would take a lot. Okay, so one, that would take a lot of time. Two, it's 2-player, so we got to play it together.
Which would take a lot of time because it's only when you're up here that we'll be able to do that.
So that's what I mean. It'll just be like big spaced out between, you know, being able to play it for a few hours at a time, right? Which will be kind of good for, like, Godzilla. And there's a part of me who's like, well, maybe we should skip to Mario Hoops 3-on-3, which is the next game. And then if maybe I could just, you know, come up here, do Godzilla, go over here, like, because I have to drive 3 hours to come up here to podcast, by the way. And then 3 hours back. So I'd be coming up, and my rule is to have 2 or more events going on, or else I'm not coming up north.
Yeah.
So I got to record Godzilla podcast, which takes way less time to do than these video game podcasts. So I think I should be able to keep up on that one a lot easier, although still not totally. And then if we have Godzilla, well, then I finish with Godzilla. And if you're still working later at like 9:30, then we can come over here and I can play for like 2 hours of air gaze while we're still doing hoops 3-on-3.
Yeah.
And then I'd just be like, well, Sunday's just fun day, you know? And I do that until the point where I can't do that anymore, which I don't know when that would be.
Yeah, that's an option. The other option is the crappy one of just playing air gaze separately, which would require me to buy, or you to buy, one of us to buy another copy of that game. And that game is fucking pricey now. It's ridiculous.
I mean, I saw it. I was like, okay, air gaze is next if we don't do 14. Because I don't know. I had to argue against Schweiss about doing 14. Because Schweiss does not want to disappoint you guys. I want you to know that.
Yeah.
He doesn't. He really, he wants to play with you guys on 14. He thinks like big deal, big event. Everybody's going to be back online for the new expansion, which was just pushed. Although still within our 4-month timeline. It's still within there.
Yeah.
With my 4-month timeline.
For now. Maybe they'll push it again.
Yeah, hopefully they push it till March. That's what I hope. I'm not sure you guys don't. But I had to be like, nah, I can't really do that. It does work. I tried the hotspotting, but it's not, and even that, that was the other thing with it. It's like, I have 30 gigs of hotspotting. I have no idea. The game takes up a certain amount of space per time. I don't know what other functions are being used on the PS5 that's also going to be like, chipping away at my internet. I did fill up 20 gigs of it because I have 30 on one, 20 on the other of the less high speed one that's on my iPad. And so that was just from like using the computer, just like browsing around, web browsing like normal. So I'm just kind of like, I don't know how much time I would even have in 14, even if I did hotspot the whole damn thing. Yeah,
so it's probably not worth it. I mean,
no, it's really not.
It seems like we'll be wasting time doing that because we'll play it a bunch and then we'll get stuck because you run out of fucking hotspot data for the month.
So what I'm thinking is we do 2 games at a time, but we don't pressure air gaze at all.
Okay.
Air gaze happens when it's convenient and we do it together.
Yeah, we could probably do that.
And it'll be out of order, but we're in fucking Final Fantasy cameo land. Like, who the fuck cares about the order in Final Fantasy cameos?
Yeah, I mean, our order was wrong in the beginning anyway, our list.
Yeah.
Air gaze first.
Yeah, we had air gaze first. So that would mean, I think, and I got the cartridge for Mario 3-on-3 like today. I got it in the mail because I sent it to my parents' place.
Is it on what's it on?
It's on the DS.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, cool.
So, and I don't know if that actually has a campaign or what. So, like, there's that's also like up in the air. No idea.
Big unknown, yeah.
Big unknown. But then there's also Smash Bros. So what I'm thinking is we just go through 3-on-3, and we go through Smash Bros. The campaigns. Although both those games sound like they probably have. I mean, I know Smash Bros. Does, but they probably have multiplayer as well. And if they do, we should spend some time doing the multiplayer on those things. But I say we go in that order, where we go Mario, then we go Smash Bros, and then Air Gaze. Unless Air Gaze is really short and we just beat it on accident,
Yeah.
And then that should cover those 4 months, if not be past that,
Yeah, and then that will get us through. We have a bunch of movies in there, too. Charlie's Angels, Ready Player One, The Robot Chicken.
We've already gone through all those except for Ready Player One. So if you want to watch Ready Player One and tack on 20 minutes of we watch Ready Player One, here's where we talk about the Chocobo scene. We can. That's how we dealt with the other movies. Like, they were just part of segments. It was like, what was the segment called? It was like...
oh, yeah. It was like... Spot the FF.
Spot the FF.
Yeah, I guess we did already do those, huh?
Yeah, the only Spot the FF we haven't done is
the Ready Player One. Yeah, we did the Burger Chain. Yeah,
which Drew and I reviewed Ready Player One on the Godzilla podcast because it had Mega Godzilla in it. So there's lots of that's the only place where the Godzilla podcast and the Final Fantasy podcast could have collided. But
we missed it.
Fucked up.
Yeah, we did an Armageddon style mission and set the crash course off.
Yeah, we fucked up.
Drill.
All right, are you okay with that? I thought we were going to argue about it a lot more than that.
I mean, if I wasn't dying, I might have a little more spirit to fight. But yeah, I guess that works. I mean, Mario Hoops 3-on-3. I didn't know it was a DS game. For some reason, I was thinking like Wii or some shit.
No, and there was cheaper places to buy it than Amazon, by the way.
Yeah, I could see that. I saw one that wasn't $104. Yeah, I think that works. I've already bought Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I'm pretty sure I bought it.
Okay, I have not.
I don't know where it is, though. That's the thing about the Switch stuff.
I was going to buy it digitally. I just don't care. Because I could just put it, I think it would be the only game on that Switch that I have.
Do you have one still?
Yeah. Yeah, I should. Should be underneath my chair. In which things are kept in compartments because it's a camper trailer.
Oh, I thought it was just like laying on the floor.
No. I got there's like a pile of consoles underneath my quote unquote couch.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's fair to do. We can focus on Mario Hoops 3-on-3. Just play it and see what it's got to offer, and then if there's multiplayer.
And the assumption is I would just come up basically every weekend and smash some air gaze before Godzilla and then maybe after Godzilla.
Yeah, we could try that, yeah.
Because Godzilla is at 2:30 every time. Drew has a set schedule. I can't fuck with it. So it means like you get up at noon.
Is that Sunday or Saturday?
Sunday.
Oh. What are we going to do for Nude Clan then on those days?
On those days, it would just be Nude Clan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we can't play on those days. Yeah. So that's my plan. Let's just start.
Yeah,
let's start 3-on-3. We'll, you set up the PS2 or whatever. We can play some air gaze. Maybe we could play some. Nah, there's probably not time today, is there? Oh, it gets dark way earlier than I think it is.
Yeah, it's only 6. Maybe we'll play some today. I don't know. We'll have to look at it.
Yeah, we'll see.
But yeah, I think that's fair. And then, guys, it's just one of those things where I want to do it the right way, but Joe has to live this weird life where he's in the middle of nowhere, or he's in fucking middle of nowhere, Niceville, Colorado.
So I went from middle of nowhere, incredible, to middle of nowhere, podunk.
Yeah, to middle of nowhere, LA. Like, it's just you're
in the middle of nowhere, LA.
It's either the middle of everywhere or the middle of nowhere with this guy.
There pretty much is nothing in downtown LA, and that's where I lived. So yeah.
And it's like it's just all I want is internet. See, that's the one thing that I want in this world.
I will have it. I'll be renting from my boss the apartment above my work.
Oh, really? It's that's cool.
There's I think it's a 1-bedroom. It might be a 2-bedroom apartment. I haven't actually looked at it. There's some guys that like go out and they like hang out shirtless and they smoke, and he fucking hates that they're there, like in front of his business. And so he's like, yeah, I want to kick those guys out. You want that apartment? I'll give it to you for $650 a month. And I'm like, fuck yeah, I want an apartment for $650 a month. Are you shitting me? And also, like, I've been driving 40 minutes a day, right?
Yeah.
Cut that down completely. Yeah. 0. It's wake up, go downstairs, and work.
Nice.
Yeah.
I reminds me of my buddy Kent. He lives above a dumpling shop. So it's pretty sweet. he doesn't go downstairs to work. He just goes downstairs to eat.
Just to have some dumplings.
Yeah.
That could be pretty sweet, or like the most tempting thing in the world if you have weight problems.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
which we both kind of do.
So, all right, I guess we figured it out, guys. Please go check out the movie page and everything like that. Wait for the 13th Cross coming out December 14th. By the way, if you already, I don't know if everybody got this email, but you should have gotten an email if you were an Indiegogo supporter. Giving you the link to the movie so that you could watch it if you wanted to watch it. Don't pirate it. Don't put it out anywhere. Because December 14th, it'll be for rent. It's not for free anywhere. So they want to make some money before they start putting it out for free on, Amazon Prime or Netflix or anything like that.
Yeah.
Which, if you guys didn't support the film when it was on Indiegogo, please go support it when it comes out December 14th. I'd appreciate that. And go check out stuff for my new film. It's going to be twice as good of a movie. I don't know if you read the script.
Yeah, I did. I liked it. Okay. I thought it was good.
Yeah. And it got like second rounder at Austin Film Festival, which is one of the 2 most competitive screenplay competitions in the world. So the fact that it made it that far, I don't know. For me, that's a really good sign of just saying, oh yeah, this is the movie to make.
Yeah.
So, anyways, guys, I think that's good. Our next game should be Mario Hoops 3-on-3. If you've ever played Mario Hoops 3-on-3, if you've ever played the new Smash Bros. Game with Cloud in it, if you've ever played Air Gaze, please send us your questions and your reviews to fffanatics123@gmail.com. And by the way, guys, we love hearing your feedback. So whatever you guys thought of this episode or any episode, please go into our Discord and tell us about it.
Yeah, or you can still leave an iTunes review. We read them, we just don't talk about them anymore. And I'm tired of seeing that one that's up there right now. So if you guys don't mind sliding a new one in there,
okay,
I'd appreciate it.
All right, guys. That's gonna be it for this episode. We'll see you next time.
Enjoy the.
We don't play the outro anymore, Schweiss.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Because it has a website that doesn't exist anymore.
Enjoy the grind, then.